Hello everybody, how you doing? And welcome to Transformation Tuesday. We want to be able to dive right in because I want to make sure that in this conversation that we get this point. I believe it's going to help. I know it's going to help you because it's already helping me with the revelation that God has given. So in Nehemiah chapter 2, we're going to read one verse and then I'll explain and we'll go from there. Nehemiah chapter 2 verses 5. This is what it says. It says, "And I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant had found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it." Now, I need you to hear what is about to be said. Before this context in chapter 2, we start in chapter 1. Someone has now came unto Nehemiah to inform Nehemiah of what's going on, the state of the people. At this point of time, we have basically Jerusalem in a very bad scenario and situation. And so they're informing him on everything that's going on. And immediately Nehemiah does something that I need us all to be able to hear. Nehemiah starts to pray. Now, this is before he wants to be able to build anything. This is before he talks to the king about anything. At this specific time frame, what Nehemiah starts to do is he starts to pray. Now, why am I emphasizing this? Because what we have to be able to do before we start to build anything, we have to build with prayer. I'm going to say this again. Before we start building anything, we have to build in prayer. We cannot build without prayer. We cannot build in our lives, in our marriages, for our businesses, whatever that might be. We cannot do that without prayer. Now, what Nehemiah first does is when he starts to pray, he does something that I believe is very important for us to be able to see. Nehemiah first acknowledges that, God, we have done some things that are not right. We have done some things that has not been pleasing in your sight. And so if you can, allow me this opportunity to be able to do something about it. He goes through this whole conversation because what he's trying to get God to be able to do in this moment is to forgive the wrong that has been done so that they now can be able to fix the places that is broken. It's very important that you hear this. He starts to communicate with God so then he can be able and fix the things, so he can fix the things that are now broken. So the question that we both have to be able to answer in this conversation that we're having this morning is, what things are broken? What things are broken in your marriage? What things are broken down in your finances? What things are broken down for your business, for your schooling, for anything in categories in your life? What things are broken that you're trying to build? Now, before you start to build it, you have to acknowledge that there is something that I have done that has not been pleasing. That's why it's broke. That's why it's torn down. That's why the trust is not there. That's why my heart is hardened. That's why this thing is not working the way it should. That's why my business is in the scenario that it's in. That's why we are where we are, is because something has been broken down. Communication, something has been broken. And in this moment, I'm saying unto God, God, I apologize. Forgive me because of the wrong that I have done, the place that in my own self that I've done wrong in this area. And because of that, I'm now asking that you give unto me the opportunity, show me the plan on how I can build these areas, how I can build these scenarios, or in these scenarios and situations in my life. So when we look at this all together, before he had a plan, before he had a layout, before he started to build with prayer. Now, prayer is a vitally important thing, surely, in the life of the believer, because it's our way of communicating with God. It's our way of communicating and sharing and talking with God. And because this is that form of how God initiates this thing of how he wants us to communicate with him, we have to make sure that we stay into a posture. We stay in a place where we can communicate with God, commune with God. We cannot lose the context of prayer. And so the reason why we cannot lose that is because how can you build without prayer? How can you build anything without prayer? You have to be able to start with this context of building your life with prayer. So we have to build with prayer. Before we get the plan, before we start the work, before we gather the material, we have to start building with prayer. So this is what my statement is, or my commission to you to do today, is take the time to pray. Take the time to acknowledge and examine. This is where I'm at. This is what I've done. This is where my life is. These are the areas that I need work in. And so God, forgive me for this, for the things that I have done. Knowingly, unknowingly, let's make sure that we acknowledge where we are. God is a God that forgives. He is a God that redeems time. But we have to be able to acknowledge where we are, where we're wrong in our lives. Then God can be able to now take us and show us ways of how to be able to fix it. We cannot fix something that we will not acknowledge that is broken. He cannot fix something that we are not willing to acknowledge that we are wrong in. He cannot do it. But in this conversation and in this prayer with God, God is saying, pray with me, talk with me. And as we talk with God, then God can give unto us the plan on how to build. But we have to first start building with prayer. Today I pray that you take the time to acknowledge, to pray, and hear what God has to say unto you. Be blessed on today, and allow this Transformation Tuesday devotional time with you to bless the rest of your week. Be blessed. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.